Welcome to DS Trucks. In today's video, we're going to be talking about wiring to the upfitter switches on your 23. So what we've done with ours is we've taken out our battery and battery tray. Now, you could also access your upfitter switches, which is going to be right here, passenger side of the truck, right by your fuse box. And basically, if you don't already know what these switches are, is a way to control a larger voltage with a smaller voltage. So basically, you have your overhead switches inside of your truck. Very low amperage flows through them. You hit your switch, and your larger amperages can now flow through your upfitter switch bundle, which is very nice. Some of these are fused for, I think, 40 amps. Little piece of tape here you got to pull, and it comes off. So you get two 40 amps, a few 25s, some 20s, and not only do you get your switched power, this box also provides you with 12 volts key on fused to like 20 amps. It also provides you with a constant hot. So pretty cool. If you want to find key on 12 volt power, you have usable key on 12 volt power here. For grounding, you have to tie into a different ground point, and that's the question I get a lot. How do you ground it? Well, you have to ground it to the frame of the truck, and the best way to do that is with a pre-existing ground. Get an eyelet, a wire, and put the ground right on top of that. Loosen the screw, put the ground on top. That's how you get the ground side of the circuit. And for the power side, you hook the whatever 12 volt circuit you need to have powered to the upfitter switch, and they come numbered and labeled. So we'll pull this off and show you. But being that this is a 450, I'm going the battery tray removal route. You could also pull off the fender liner and access the upfitter switch, but you'd have to work underneath here, and you'd be able to pull it, because this little nub that you see right here, it's kind of right there. That's your upfitter switch wiring. So if you don't mind stooping down here and pulling off the fender liner, you can do it that way. But on the 450, it's a little bit harder to get the fender liners off because you have these flares. It's still doable without removing the flares, but you'd have to just crunch this thing up a little, this liner, in order to get that liner off. Or you could take the fender flare off. Not a huge deal, but in our case on this 23 battery tray, super easy to remove. On the 20s through the 22, the battery tray wasn't that easy to pull. Like, you had to kind of finagle and wiggle the battery tray out of the truck. But on the 23s, I just took this thing off so easy. Literally, like, it lifts right off. It's a smaller tray than before. I feel like the battery's a little bit smaller. It's certainly lighter. These new AGM batteries, they seem lighter weight to me. They're not as heavy to pick up. But battery tray comes out way easier. A lot more room. The Ford kind of reworked, I think, the engine bay a little. So I'm going battery tray. It's going to be the easier route. I think it was easier to take it out than the fender liner. You deal with the fender liner. All these plugs are supposed to be located. This one wasn't located here. It wasn't pinned in. So I have this big hole. So I can, while I'm here, I can do that. It's not critical, but from the factory, that wasn't located in there. So let's, push that. So the reason I'm doing that is because as I'm hitting water, all of the extra water and pressure ends up working its way up through those open holes, and that is why it is imperative to run a plastic liner, which we don't have a plastic liner yet on this truck, but nonetheless we will be adding that. It's just not on here just yet. Should have got it from the factory, but I did not. So what I'm going to be doing to really make this a comfortable thing to work on, these upfitter switches, is I've already done it. I've already pulled my positive terminal off here. So when this stuff is apart, you really should unhook your batteries. I have one battery hooked up because I don't want to lose power. I don't want to lose data and everything that's in the computer or whatever. Not a huge deal, but just don't want to do that. But it's not a bad idea to unhook the other battery, because if you don't and you're not careful and you accidentally touch something and complete the circuit between ground and positive, like right now, if I were to allow this ground wire to contact these hot points here, I could really pop something. I could pop a fuse internally into this box, or I could damage this battery thing here that monitors your batteries. So what I've done is I got these big rubber glove and I put it over the hot terminal on this side. If this hot terminal comes in contact with the engine, I'm gonna arc against the engine. So what I'm gonna also do is I'm gonna cover the ground up, because I got these hot wires down here. But if you want to do this, unhook the battery. Don't be like me. It's a bad idea. Like I said, I'm gonna put a rubber on here for safety. I always want to be safe. I always want to have electrical contraceptive. So now that, even though it's a ground, so the ground wire, it can touch another ground. It won't do a thing. But if a ground wire flops down and touches there, it'll damage the truck. It most certainly will damage the truck. So covering it up with a rubber insulator will prevent me from accidentally damaging the truck. So like I said, I've already pulled this wire off and it's looping down there, and that will allow me to hopefully be able to lift this out of here. So I got some tabs that I cannot quite reach by hand, maybe a thinner finger, and boom, now I've, like I said, I've removed this single wire here. I can now see my bundle here. Here's the bundle. And there's just one more plug that if I want to really make my life easy, all I got to do is depress a push pin, pull on it, and it should come right loose. It's located now this year. Last year I don't think it was in this position, but Ford's really reworked things. So a single plug from here, this allows connection between the truck and the switches, but a single plug here. Now I have my entire box up, out, can be placed anywhere. No danger of arcing, nothing. And when I'm done wiring, I can put it back in, drop my wire back onto its tab, which is not that one, it's actually this one. Drop my wire back onto the tab, and I'm good to go. So why would I want to be stooping if I don't have to? All right. And look at this. This harness isn't located either. It's funny, like you mess with your truck and you find all this stuff that gets kind of forgotten. If this, so maybe it didn't line up or something, but yeah, that's supposed to obviously go right there. Maybe this one won't reach. It's a little tight. Whoever's job this is didn't want to do that. It's not easy. This harness doesn't want to fit. This push pin doesn't want to line up. So maybe they're just like, man, I'm not doing that. It's too hard. So that one I'll maybe wrestle with it later, but yeah, pretty interesting. So the thing about this space here is you can put wiring in here, whatever. It can kind of sit up in here, just how the factory did it. All these plugs and stuff are in here. And yeah, it's a good place. You know, when you do snowplow installs and stuff like that, it usually happens over here. There's gonna be stuff with the snowplow that hides in the fender. It's gonna hide, stuff's gonna hide all over the place. So anyway, we got our upfitter switch box free, and we can do everything we need to do. We could go ahead and unravel this so we can see what's the deal, you know, with the upfitter switch wiring. Well, you untape this thing, and we'll see what's in here. there should be a label. Maybe 23s have some different colors. You can see that label as it's partially exposed now. And like I say, like, pulling the whole box out, super easy for you to now do whatever you want to do with it, and you don't have to fight it. And then for me, I like to leave enough lead wire so that for the next install, I can just pull off the whole box again, and I can do any kind of wiring that needs to be done. Standing up straight, not hurting the back, but you can do it the other way. You can go underneath. All right, let me get this unwrapped. All right, so now we have our white label where this is going to be the 23 pinout, and I'm not sure if it's different from previous years, but there it is if you need that. Like I say, easy to work on, and this thing is just, you can remove it and install it very simply, very easily.